All right, so good evening, everyone, and we're excited to have you on this platform today. And this platform is so special because we are officially launching a new episode or a new program for Kaizen Reading Group tagged Chit-Chats with a Guru. This is a very interesting program that we have put together. And thank you to all of my colleagues that we work together within the Kaizen admin team to put up Chit Chat with a Guru. And our intention, of course, is to create a relaxed but impactful conversation platform where we can engage experienced and accomplished personalities to share their journeys, lessons, and practical wisdom. This program is meant to be a quarterly event, and we're excited that we are starting with one of our own, John Okhueleigbe. And just before we go deep into the conversation, I tried to do a bit of summary about Kaizen Reading Group because a lot of us, this may be the first time we are hearing or meeting Kaizen Reading Group. So Kaizen Reading Group was established on Friday, 12th July 2024. And our mission was very clear. Our mission was to foster a community of passionate readers who are inspired and ethically grounded to contribute positively to human growth and development. Our mission is also very clear. Our mission is to create a platform such as Chit-Chat with a Guru that drives reading culture, which help individuals develop and deepen their cognitive skills. We have about 4 events that we have to drive this vision and mission. Number 1 is the weekly Kaizen book review, where we do a weekly review of selected books. So far, we have read 5 books, and we are read 8 out of 25 chapters in the 6th book. We have read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. We have also read Attitude is Everything by Jeff Keller. We have read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hills, Outlier by Malcolm Gladwell, Atomic Habit by James Clear, and Making It Big, which is the 6th book by Femi Otedola. We have read 8 out of the 25 chapters. Also, we have our monthly Kaizen game nights where we gamify learning and really drive that interaction to further entrench the act of reading. We have done or we have facilitated 14 editions of game nights. And we are starting with this now, the quarterly chit chats with the Guru. And we are hoping to also join or to add to this bouquet of events our annual Kaizen Hangout, which is planned for this year as well. This is what we do, and we do this every Saturday by 7:30 to 8 p.m. every Saturday. So we welcome all of us to this event, and we will be starting the Chit Chat with the Guru having John Okhueleigbe online. John Okhueleigbe is the head of approved schemes and inclusion in Stanbic IBTC pensions. Some of us might be wondering, why did we choose John? I will not answer that question. I want John himself to answer the question because when I was discussing with John, John told me, why did you select me? I told him, don't worry, you answer the question by yourself when you mount the podium. So John, you're officially welcome to Kaizen Reading Group. And we are happy to have you launching this Chit Chat with the Guru today. How are you doing, John?
I'm anxious.
How can a guru be anxious? You cannot.
I mean, when I put the meeting on my status, a very good friend of mine saw it and started calling me Guru Maharaji.
No, tell him this guru is an expert that I want to talk to today. He's not Maharaji
Um,
one.
Thank you. I honestly, I don't think I'd call myself a guru, and I hope to discover exactly why you put me here. But I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to talk about something that I like to do and I like to read. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. So we'll go deep into the conversations. Time is not our friend. We have about 25 minutes to run. So we'll start with a bit of introduction about yourself. We have introduced you. This is John, and he's the head of Approved Scheme and Inclusion. In fact, somebody told me what's the meaning of Approved Scheme. And that work is, what is in Approved Scheme? I said, don't worry, when you join the session, you will know. So John, can you tell us about yourself? And we want to know you briefly about your career and also want to know you a bit outside your regular professional titles. John, over to you.
Thank you very much. So let me start with work. I work with Stanbic IBTC pension managers. I initially was with the bank almost over a decade ago before coming to pensions. I've always been in a business development role. In terms of my current role, approved schemes and inclusion, Stanbic IBTC has about 88 approved schemes outside of the mandatory pension scheme, valued at over 1.2 trillion. I have oversight on everything that relates to those schemes, as it were. And then in terms of the inclusion bit, again, when they introduced the approved scheme and inclusion title, a few of my friends started teasing me that I have joined LGBTQ. But that's not what the inclusion is about. So let's clear the
Fantastic.
air. Inclusion is basically about extending pension coverage. So we now have the personal pension plan, and then we have the foreign currency pension. So that's what that's about. But that's work. In terms of me as a person, I like to think that I like to think that I'm fun. So I like to swim. I like to sing. And outside of work, my moniker is Playful John. So people basically refer to me as either Playful John or Pastor John or PJ for short. So if you know me very well, you probably know me as PJ. But the PJ is Playful John, not Papa John or Papa John or Pastor John or anything like that. I think in a nutshell, that's me. So I like to do fun things outside of work, and that's it basically. Thank you.
I was
And
thinking that you're going
obviously,
to
one more thing.
mention something around one of your hobbies is to make Elisha laugh because I know
Ah,
you.
Elisha is my wife. She's a goldsmith, essentially, and we've built something over the years together, and I truly do like supporting our business. Again, like I mentioned, I've always been in business development, so yeah, I think it goes without saying that I would want to do something like that. Then I have quite a lot of hobbies. So I fly drones, for instance. That's a hobby of mine, So I swim, I write. I haven't published yet. I have an Instagram handle dedicated to poetry, again, which not many people know about. So that's me.
Fantastic. So one of the things I told a friend today was that we chose John specifically because he's a salesman, right? And
Uh,
because he can talk, right? One of the person I like speaking to and listening to is John, right? So, and he has told us something special by himself. And when you hear he has a wife that's a goldsmith, that means that this platform we are going to bring us to come and tell us. So the people understand that goldsmith goes far beyond all those black things we see. I was telling a colleague how she goes to China and goes to those foreign trips to learn. But we'll keep that to when we bring her platform to talk to her. So another question we just want to ask is from, will I say from your youthful age, were you a reader or was there anything that pushed you into reading? Or can you tell us about your reading habit and skills?
So when I thought about coming on here, one of the things I said to myself was I needed to be as honest as possible. So I presume this is a safe space, right? Uh,
Exactly.
okay. Reading saved my life. Let me put it that way. It's difficult for people to understand and relate, but I didn't grow up with a silver spoon or even a wooden spoon or a spoon for that matter, right? So, given the way I grew up, reading was an escape for me, but also a way to figure out how to take myself out of my environment and where I found myself. So that's that's basically it. I remember a few years ago when my mentor came to where I was living back then and saw some of the books I was reading. The first thing he said to me was, I am absolutely convinced that you are going to succeed in this life, you know. And that was what it was. So if I had a problem, I would find a book, right, that talked about it. And I mean, I've read all sorts of books, for that reason. So that was what put me into reading, and I started reading at a very early age. And when people say reading is boring, for instance, I think it's really about the why. Why are you
Hmm.
reading,
The why.
right? If you are if you are searching for answers, if you're searching for answers, then reading would not be boring, right? So there was that. And if it's an escape mechanism as well, it won't be boring. So sometimes you read fiction because you just want to get into the story and get caught up in the story, that the author, has put out there, and then you get lost in that, and it helps you escape reality. There's that. And then like I was looking for a lot of answers. So I read a lot of books, in search for those answers. So that was what basically made me start reading. And even now, if I have a problem or I have a need, you know, anything, I go to books for clarity. There's always somebody somewhere that has
And
gone
has
through what you are
written
going
about
through.
exactly.
Do you understand? Or something close to what you are going through. So that's it.
And that's very correct, John.
Um,
For
can
me,
you still hear me? Am I still with you?
yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me too?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So John, can you hear me?
Come back on. Yeah, Kazim.
All right. So can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
All right. So I was saying that yes, as a family man, when I started my marital journey, myself and my wife, we started all those lovey-dovey kind of thing. But we started having children. There are some things that we started experiencing that little attention that needed to be shifted to the child. And my wife told me that we need to read about this new phase of our life. So we picked a book. There is a Muslim book. They call it Now That You Are Now a Mother. So we read the book together, and honestly, we found answers to so many of the challenges that we had then. Thank you, John, for that beautiful insight. And John, another question I would like to ask you is, a lot of people complain about time. Hello, John, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Right. A lot of
Uh,
people complain about time, that they do not have time to read. They're always busy and there's no time to read. What would you say to this kind of people?
Um, so again, if we go back to what I said about the why, right? Um, Reading is life. In the for me, in the context of why I read, what makes me read, I'm looking for answers, right? So when my life got busy, I became a busy executive and I didn't have time to read anymore. I invested in audiobooks. Okay. So I have a cross-platform notes on my phone. So cross-platform means that I can access it on my phone, I can access it on my laptop, I can access it, anywhere. And so I then listen to books and I take notes on that notes, as it were, So that's what I do. So it takes me when Lagos is sane, it takes me about 30 minutes to commute from home to work. I can listen to a book on that drive. When there's a lot of traffic and when I used to be on the road a lot as a salesperson, in between meetings with customers, I would listen to books. So from reading books, I started listening to books because you have to make time. You see, if so, they say readers are leaders. They say if you want to hide something from a black man,
Put it in the
put it in a
book.
book. Do you understand? So my point is, it's. I read in the search for meaning, in the search for answers, and so not having time is not an excuse for me. I would have to figure out. One of the things I said I was going to mention here was before I invested in audiobooks, I had to invest in advanced reading techniques, right? Because
Interesting.
because because I liked to read, I didn't have enough time to read, and I needed to read books, right? So I started researching about reading techniques. And out of all the reading techniques out there, one reading technique that I stumbled on that really helped me was photo reading. And photo reading guaranteed, according to the author, that you'd be able to read faster and recall better, right? Now, if you go and study photo reading, first you have to get around the esoteric bit of it because it has some esoteric concepts around it. It almost feels like the Matrix when you read it because it says photo reading. The idea of photo reading is that you are photographing the books as it were. But then if you get past that and you look at the techniques, and there are four basic techniques: skimming, scanning, intensive reading, extensive reading. Do you understand? If you get past it, at the core of photo reading is you go into every book with a purpose, which, if you ask me, is really common sense because that's how you get results in life. You approach everything with a purpose. Do you understand? Do you understand me? And so I invested in photo reading, I invested in advanced reading techniques. And today, some of those techniques still help me, even on the job, even in reading my emails, even in listening to people, right? And then, of course, I then do audiobooks. So if it's important to you, you will make out time for it. If it's important to you, you will figure something out like I did. And that's my thinking around it. Thanks.
Congratulations to myself for meeting for attending this this maiden edition of Chit Chat with a Guru. You guys can please let's give John a round of applause, please. The digital one. Two things he said, and I really want to stress that to the community that we are building is he keep using the word investments. I invested. That means that the act of reading is not a one-off thing, it's a long-term thing. So you need to really be ready for you to feel that I love reading or I want to build a reading habit. You need to invest. Honestly, the part of learning advanced reading technique, I'm hearing it for the first time. And
Oh,
John, you are owing me another one. Aside owing me bringing a lecture to this platform, you are owing us a day where you will come and speak to us about this advanced reading technique. A lot of people are struggling with basic comprehension. John, you agree with me? When you speak to
yeah.
people, you see people who don't seem to understand a lot of things. They are not able to communicate. If you are telling them, you are taking them too far. When you're talking, you are already on 100, they are still on 10 trying to figure 11, 12. So these are the tips, these are the problems that Kaizen Reading Group has been designed to come and fix. So people like you, guru like you, we need you more on our platform. No, this is not open for discussion. Right? Thank you so much, John. So people, let's take note of the investment bit, and let's take note that if something is critical to you and is important to you, you will figure it out, right? And
Oh,
let's
yeah.
learn from what John has said. Okay. So sorry, please, if you have any comment, question, you can drop it in the chat. I'm also trying to monitor it. Moses, you can help me. If there's any question, you can pop up so that we'll answer it. Another question that we want to ask our guru today is, what is your perception about the social media and the impact in the act of reading, do you think there's a negative or a positive correlation between the reading habit and social media or use of social media?
So I think that it's positive, and I'll tell you why. I think that if everything I've said so far, if you simplify everything I've been saying so far, then you realize that reading is a form of exploration, search for meaning. You're looking for answers, right? And at the core of it, what reading does is gives you information. And that's what social media is. So social media and reading are not exactly at loggerheads, and they are not opposites. They seek to do the same thing. So ultimately, the question is, why are you on social media? What are you looking for?
Do
you
we'll go
understand?
back to the same question of why.
Exactly. So, for instance, there are a few handles that I follow, and there's this very interesting. I love AI. One of the things I didn't mention is I write code in Python. And for the last few years, I've been trying to build an artificial intelligence solution, right? And so I've invested also in that kind of knowledge. And there's a guy on Instagram that has built a community around giving people up-to-date information about what is happening in the world of technology, particularly artificial intelligence, right? Now, some of the information that that guy puts on his platform, I will not find in a book, right? Or perhaps because there's the part where books are dated. So depending on the kind of knowledge you're looking for, the book can be stale. But then social media has a way of being current. And currency is very important in the search for meaning, in the search for answer. So if you ask me, social media is good. It's just a function of what you're doing there and what you're looking for, right?
Fantastic. That's another totally different perspective that a lot of us are exposed to. And that's why when you speak to knowledgeable people, you speak to people that are truly, truly doing in the art of reading. So John is basically telling us that social media is not meant to scroll. It's not just meant to press the phone for pressing sake. You still need to go back. Why am I here? Who are the people you are following? What content are you consuming? Are you just locked there, just reading? Is it a Maguire to yes, or the motivational speakers, right? So John, thank you so much for that perspective, right? And honestly, that also refreshed my understanding and how I will position conversations around the use of social media. Because I'm always like, nobody should go near social media. The evil is more than the good. But if you're intentional and you are very focused on why you are there, I'm sure you still benefit from it. Right. I think I have another question for John. The question is, can you recommend one or two books for us to read? Because you've said a lot. What book do you think gave you that eureka moment, that wow moment to say, this is something to do? Can you recommend a few books for us?
I think when you were all the books that you mentioned, I have read except the last one, Otedola's book. So while you were talking about the books that you guys had read, I was smiling to myself because I'd read all of them except Otedola's book, like I mentioned. And then the one book that changed my life, and I've read it 4 times, and I'm actually planning to read it again, is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I think that that book is the most understated book. And I think it's because people think it's a motivational book, but it's not. It has very, very practical principles. So that's one book. Another book that I would recommend, apart from that, is Rework. I can quickly confirm the name of the author. So I'm on my Audible, and I'm just trying to quickly scroll through my library because it's one of the books in my library in Audible. And I just, Rework by Jason Fried and David Henneman. I think that's his name. Yes. I like Rework, and I think it's a book that if you're reading the hard copy, you'll be done in maybe 3-4 hours. But the reason I like the book is it disrupts your thinking, and elevates how you think about things. Ultimately, all of life is about concepts and constructs. Do you understand? And if you're able to navigate those concepts and simplify them, then it helps you question your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are people doing what they're doing and all of that? And it just makes life easier. And that's why I like the book Rework, because it challenges a lot of the norms and myths and concepts that we hold. So those are the two books I would recommend. Yeah,
Fantastic.
thanks.
Thank you so much. And as we're all listening to John, you should listen to some of the things he's not emphasizing, right? Because he's saying he's taking it for granted that everybody should understand. He said, I've read it 4 times. Do you know the meaning of that? Repetition is not that kind. So the act of reading is not just I've read the book once. I was speaking to my boss, which one day I will also bring him to this platform. He told me the minimum book here, the minimum times he has read any book on his shelf is twice. John told us he read Think and Grow Rich 4 times. When we're reviewing the book on this platform, one of the things myself and Moses acknowledged on this platform was that book was ideological. It was not just the regular book. Somebody just is building your framework of thinking, building foundation about perception about it was not really about wealth. It was really about how to build your thinking capacity. And thank you, John, for emphasizing that. So this we are wrapping up. I have like these quick fire round questions for you. One of them that you answered, I'll just go through them quickly. Do you prefer physical book over audiobook?
I don't have a preference. It's time that
Determine the
determines or
platform.
dictates what I do. To be honest, I like to read and color and mark and all of that. There's a connection that
to
comes
the
with,
book where you do that.
do you understand? And then you have book markers and all of that. It's just
Separators, all of that.
about that. But then I'm not attached to that, because the other thing you don't want to do is you don't want to invest in negative emotions. So you don't have time to do that anymore. And you are beating yourself up. Who here? Do you understand? Which was why I then switched over to audiobooks. And then what I then do with audiobooks is as I listen, I take notes. So it's not the same thing as marking the book and coloring it, but I still feel a connection somewhat because I'm taking notes.
Fantastic. So, and that's another thing we should also learn. You need to be flexible. You need to be dynamic to situations and don't hard code yourself into situations. Morning reading or night reading?
Okay. I read at all times. In fact, I had this bad habit of reading while walking on the road. And of course, I then learned that the sun and everything, it could affect my eyes. I could be eating and reading. Permit my Yoruba. So I remember my mom back then when I was still younger would eat your food, eat your food. I could eat for hours because I'm eating and reading. Of course, the bad part of it is then you get oil stains on the book and all of that. So suffice to say that I don't really have a preference time of day and all of that. Is when the thing catches me.
When the gbedu enter body, you just carry it.
Exactly.
Fantastic. My last question to you be: one book you wish you wrote?
Is it a book I've read that I wish I wrote?
Yes.
The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene.
Fantastic.
That book also ranks about the same level as Think and Grow Rich.
Fantastic.
Yeah, because like I said, I read books in search of meaning and all of that. I was going through, man is a political animal, and I was at a stage in my life where there was a lot of politics And sometimes if you're nice, if you are kind, you get taken for granted, and then you are the brunt of all the manipulations and calculations of people and all of that. And I really couldn't navigate it. And it was a dark time in my life. And while I was looking for answers, I stumbled on the 48 Laws of Power. And the book basically gave me the tools that I needed to navigate that. And since then, I think that I've been fairly able to navigate political situations fairly well. So, yeah.
So, John, thank you so much for your time. You have 30 seconds, sum it up and give us takeaways, then we can wrap up. Thank you, John.
I would say be flexible. I would say have a reason for why you are doing whatever you're doing, and let it be your reason and not someone else's um, reason. And ultimately, readers are leaders. So with all you're getting, get the information. The final thing I would say is don't read for reading's sake. Read to apply the knowledge. Otherwise, what's the point? Do you understand? Make sure you are able to apply whatever it is you are learning. And if you are unable to apply it, then whatever you've read is useless, both to you and to the world around you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. Honestly, we thought we would do chit chat with the guru and start it. Honestly, I'm very excited about this new event, a new program that we've started. The attendance, honestly, is also very good. And I want to thank everybody that participated. And just to tell all of us, we gave John less than a week notice for this, right? And I'll meet him by the staircase. John, don't forget to. And like Kazim, even I called him this afternoon and said, thank you for reminding me. I've almost forgotten. And that is what
I've forgotten.
that is why we are very excited about. John, we want to thank you for this honor that you've given to Kaizen platform.
Thank you.
I want to tell you that this is the first time we are bringing you. Don't worry, you have other opportunities that will bring you to come and share more of your experience. John, Moses is already trying to cheat, saying that he wants you to mentor him. Moses, that one is for me, not for you. Not allowed, cancelled. So thank you so much, everyone. It was really lovely for us to share this time together. It's a quarterly event, like I said. Next quarter, we'll find another guru and we'll bring them to share their thoughts. Thank you so much, John. Thank you so much, everybody. And have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.
Good evening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.